They were just loose. Like hundreds of baboons were just loose in western New Jersey.
Strangers with Kittens. Gen X stories from the least parented generation.
Hi, welcome to Strangers with Kittens. I'm really happy you're here. It's just me. So, you're not going to hear the annoying echoing that you heard last week when Carrie was my guest. Sorry about that, you guys. We just got so cozy that we were echoing through each other's microphones. So I've learned from that experience, and that won't be happening again. How are you guys? I don't know. It's spring right now. It's March, almost April. I'm just feeling such a lift from the increased daylight and the not single digit temperatures. I hope you are too. Um, so I've talked about Action Park a couple of times in New Jersey and how that was a quintessentially Gen X experience. And so Ashley, my producer, posted an Action Park post on TikTok, and we got so many fun responses that I just wanted to read a few of them, because if you are not in this area or didn't grow up in this area or didn't have the misfortune slash fortune of going to Action Park, I don't think I would believe people had I not experienced it. These are just, a few of the responses. And a few people that responded worked there. Caroline Carr 54 was a wave pool lifeguard, which talk about setting someone up for failure. The wave pool, it was a freshwater pool. And the thing about ocean waves is ocean water is salty. Salt water keeps you buoyant. It keeps you floating. Fresh water doesn't. So fresh water plus waves equals death. So, the fact that Caroline Carr 54 was a lifeguard at the wave pool, shout out to you I'm sure you had a lot of saves. I hope you didn't have any deaths on your watch, because I know there were some. And yeah, you're in the right place. Okay, someone just with the name M, the letter M, says millennials also went to Action Park. So sorry for leaving you out. That slide, Stephen HK NYC says that slide was literally made of cement. The whole place was a death trap, and our parents took us there. And what's funny is, if parents took you there, like I went there on my first date. It was the only time I went. After I got 100-mile-an-hour enema, I felt like, you know what? I don't really need to come back. But if parents did bring their kids there was a beer garden, a big German-themed beer garden next to the racetrack, by the way, where you didn't need a driver's license to drive cars at like 80 miles an hour, little race cars. So if your parents brought you, they were getting drunk at the beer garden, which was super fun, and then probably driving drunk home down the windy, tree-lined, mountainous roads of Vernon, New Jersey. So, and it's like, it's so much fun to talk about, but it's definitely not something I would ever let my kids do. Um, okay. Mike O'Malley says that place was so dangerous. We thought it was great. Class Action Park, which is a documentary. I don't know if I've mentioned this. It's a documentary. You really got to check it out. It's not there. There was like a fictionalized movie about it, but this one is a documentary talking to real people, and it's the people that talk about it are so cool and so fun, and you just want to be friends with them. John Doe 1701 says, me and my friends went there a couple of times. We barely survived. Every time we would leave with bruises and cuts. Monday at school, everyone would know we went to Action Park because of their wounds, and our parents let us go there thinking it was safe, like great adventure. Oh, Luna 11206 writes, I almost died at that place. CR 1234 said, I got so hurt at Action Park. Pleasure Size says the 2 best days of my life were spent at Action Park. A part of my heart died when it closed. Poised Beast says that place was the best. Man, the tube slides were awesome, but the water was freezing cold in all caps. LOL. I missed that place. The Roaring Rapids ride was awesome. I would pay to go to a park like that today. Um, Never Too Old to Talk says, I miss Action Park, but I don't think I'd take my kids there. But I loved going there as a kid. Yeah, it agreed on all fronts. Um, um, Bear's brother says all the best stories started with I almost died at Action Park. Um, Danny P says hitting the water shooting out of the cannonball was like hitting a wall. The water was ice cold, knocked the wind out of you. And then I think I talked about this. It's kind of creepy since this guy's name is Jersey Dad, but just keep in mind he wasn't a dad when he was there. I mean, I hope he wasn't. He says girls would lose their tops at the bottom all the time. I guess he means the bottom of the Alpine slide. Alpine slide. I mean, not the Alpine slide. The kamikaze. I think it was called the Kamikaze. I don't know. There were a bunch of water slides, and the one that was really bad, I think the one that I went on was the Kamikaze. That was the one that gave me the 100-mile-an-hour enema. Um, Girls would lose their tops at the bottom of that all the time. The shallow water would smack their swimsuits, just saying. So, yeah, there was just like a gathering of guys at the bottom of these rides because the girls would come half naked by the end because either the either the force of the water would rip their bathing suits off, or when you came to the bottom, you got spit out at the bottom of the slide. There was just like a mat, like a rubber, like a kind of a yoga mat with, I don't know, an inch of water on it. And you just tumbled and got hurt and your bathing suit came off. It was really it was really bad. And when I tell you that I had warm water trickling out of my ass for a couple of hours after that, I'm not kidding. And I didn't say anything to Rachel, who you know, and Scott and Fred, who I was with. I didn't mention it to them at the time, but I just kept thinking, I wonder if they also have warm water trickling out of their asses. It was really unpleasant for a teenage girl who was on her first date and, like, wanted to look cute. Just kept getting more scraped up and bloodied and humiliated. It was like extreme, extreme, extreme dating. Okay, so this I could read these all day. One place that I may not have mentioned, but it was just reading these responses was bringing up memories of, I don't know, Western New Jersey was particularly insane in the 70s, and I think it may have closed by like 1980. I don't know, but there was a theme park in around that area of New Jersey, like West Milford, Vernon Valley, somewhere in Sussex County, called Habitat. And people, now are like sharing memories of Action Park, but I've never heard anyone talk about Wild Habitat. And when I bring it up, most people are totally puzzled. And I'm like, I know I didn't dream this. Um, it was like a safari, like a wild safari where you drove through this park and there were wild animals. And we went in the summer. I was young. And I was like a huge animal lover. Like if I saw a dead animal hit by a car on the side of the road, I was wrecked for certainly the rest of the car trip, like crying and just could not compose myself. So bringing me to a safari park in New Jersey where there were giraffes and lions and bears and baboons. Those I remember because they were like climbing on our car and they would snap your windshield wipers off. and like we didn't have air conditioning. You had to roll the windows up because you didn't want your face eaten by a lion. And so it was like 1,000 degrees and you just drove through slowly while animals walked around suburban New Jersey, like African animals walked around suburban New Jersey. And I was the type of kid that thought about, like, where do they go in the winter? They don't belong here. This isn't the right climate. This isn't the right vegetation for them. Like, these are the things that I would think about when I was like single digit age and be stressed out and worried. And not to mention, I got carsick all the time. So it was like the most miserable trip for me. And I'm sure everybody around me, because I just remember crying and feeling so sorry for the animals and just being so like, do the people that work here understand that New Jersey has 4 seasons and that these animals don't belong in New Jersey? And what are they gonna do in January? And what do they eat? Like, they don't make lion chow, like, what are they feeding them? So, I did a little bit of research because I was like, "I know I didn't dream this. This happened." And also consulting my older brother. I have 2 older brothers, but one is 3 years older than me. And he like blocks things out that are unpleasant, or he just doesn't care to remember. He's like, "I don't remember that happening." And so you feel so gaslit because he just keeps these blinders on, and it can be like the most consequential memory. And he's like, "I don't know." 'Cause he doesn't wanna think about it. So, I did a little a deep dive, not a deep dive. I did a little research, to make sure that I wasn't hallucinating, and came to find out that the baboons used to get out all the time. They're baboons. They can climb up anything. They can escape anything. Like, there's no fence that's too high for them, right? They're basically, like, very fit, flexible, much stronger humans. So they're going to figure it out. They've got the physical capability, and they were just loose. Like, hundreds of baboons were just loose in Western New Jersey. They would turn up in people's backyards. They were ransacking the town pharmacy near the closest town to where this was. Like, who thinks this up? And then it gets through how many channels of people that say, yeah, baboons in suburban New Jersey seems like a fantastic idea. Like, how many pets were I mean, baboons are the ones with the giant, not to hate baboons. They have a place in the world and, they're great. But like, they're carnivores. They have giant teeth and fangs, and they're super strong, and they can climb into and out of anything. So I don't know who thought it was a good idea to bring those animals to New Jersey, but someone did. And by the way, it was, I guess, Warner Brothers, because I remember there being Looney Tunes. Like, Disney World had Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, and Jungle Habitat had Bugs Bunny. And I remember them feeling amateurish, like the artwork and stuff was not real high end. It wasn't like high production value stuff. Like, I kind of remember like seeing, I don't know, cutouts of Bugs Bunny and maybe Daffy Duck and Elmer Fudd, and thinking like, I could draw that. Like, I could have made that. But I don't think they were, I think they were licensed, even though they were a little amateur looking. There was too much of that around for it to just be somebody just stealing intellectual property. I'm assuming it was Warner Brothers, because I think that's who was at, like, in the Looney Tunes credits, um, sanctioned this and was like, "Yeah, lions in New Jersey sounds fantastic, like a real moneymaker." And it was like, the inverse of Disney, like Disney. I mean, say what you want about Disney, but they do a lot of things right. I mean, I know that one kid was eaten by a crocodile that time, but that was because his parents were letting him swim in a pond and that was roped off and said, "Don't go in the water." And they did anyway. And, it's Florida. There's freaking cougars and alligators and snakes, big ones. So, you gotta You gotta have some common sense. They can't control everything. But this is way before Animal Kingdom, and it I don't know. I just like, how do you deal with animal welfare aside, which that's a hard sentence for me to even say, but animal welfare aside, how do you import dangerous carnivorous animals, put them in suburban New Jersey, and you're just like, "Yeah, that should be good. Let's see what happens." I don't I don't know if other states did crazy stuff like this, but between Action Park and Jungle Habitat, I mean, I was here for all of it, and I love reminiscing about it, but who somebody was asleep at the wheel. Um, and maybe there were tons maybe there were things like this all over. I know there were, like, whatever, roadside, like, horrible circuses and terrible things like that where, the animals were not shouldn't have been there, but, and that's an improvement. That's something that's gotten a lot better. There are a lot more protections there, so I feel like sometimes I focus on, I don't know, the bad side, the bad parts of having an iPhone or just technology or streaming services like Spotify, and um, I want to point out the positives too. And one of the positives is I haven't seen a baboon in my backyard, so that's good. Um, but you gotta laugh, like, I mean, cruelty and danger aside, it's it's just so funny how it was just like anything goes. Let's just try it and say, let's build a cannonball tube that's a loop de loop for a human body, like not for a rocket ship to go through, but for a human body to go down and around and out. And that's should be good. And so they didn't that was there, that was visible when I went to Action Park. That was one of the first things you saw was this cannonball ride, but it wasn't open. And I came to find out later that that was a ride that the guy who came up with Action Park, I think, came up with and was like, "Yeah, let's build this and try this." And you gotta love the can-do spirit of just like, "Let's try anything." However, not really with, like, kids and their bodies and their lives, like, I don't know. Let's you should work for NASA. But to just be like, "Let's take somebody that's not me and put them through this thing and see if they live." Like, what? This cannonball slide? People kids who worked at the, park would go through it, and I think there was some incentive to be, a guinea pig on this thing. But people who worked there, kids who were teenagers who worked there, volunteered to try it and had their teeth knocked out, and their teeth got embedded in the material inside the water slide. So then when other people went down, they got injured by the teeth that were sticking out inside the slide. They'd get banged up against a sharp human tooth. So they'd come out with cuts on them. Like, what? New Jersey's theme parks. Great Adventures, the only one that's really survived. I mean, I know that they have something in the action park space now that I can't think of, not Camelback, but I forget what it's called. But they do have something there that is more reasonable. There are things have been modified, closed down, taken away. There are water slides and stuff like that, but it's not the death trap that it once was. I mean, there's some risk that comes with any of those places, but, Action Park was like way, way, way next level. And now that it's getting warm out, I'm just thinking about, people are going on spring break trips and thinking about planning summer vacations. And yeah, there was nothing like Action Park. and I will continue to read the replies on TikTok and laugh because oh, here's another one from Sunny. I worked there and we would take the ski lift up to the top and camp out overnight in the summer and go on the rides in the dark. So many skin knees from the alpine slide. Wow. It's like it wasn't dangerous enough. They're like, I'm gonna do it blind. Um someone says they still have a shin scar from the alpine slide. Um, it's so fun when you guys interact. Still got the answering machine on strangerswithkittens.com if you want to share a story about Action Park. If you want to, I would be so grateful for anyone that could share a story about jungle habitat because even though I did confirm that I'm not hallucinating and it did exist, I haven't actually spoken to anyone who went there. So if you have a story, if you ever went there, if you know anything about jungle habitat and wanted to leave a message, click on the icon, the answering machine icon, and leave a message on strangerswithkittens.com or send me an email at hello@strangerswithkittens.com. That would be so much fun. And I'll read it the next episode. Um, Because yeah, as much as I know now that I did not this was not a nightmare, this was real life, it would be really fun to just, be validated in that, in that story. Okay, this is my last reply. There are like 570 comments, so, I'm actually practicing, restraint in not sharing all of them because they're so great, but, this is Tyrone Shoelaces. Tyrone Shoelaces. Action Park still have scars from the Alpine slide. Had to take a friend to the emergency room after a bad fall off the Tarzan swing and saw a guy die at the cliff jump. Wow. So I went off the cliff jump. This was after I had 3 tries on the Tarzan swing and 3 full body flops. Where my brand new, very expensive, a week a week working at Grand Union Supermarket as a cashier to pay for this fabulous bathing suit that became completely see-through when I hit the water. Uh, 3 separate tries trying to do the Tarzan swing, and for some reason, when the rope would come down and at the bottom of the arc, I'm almost 6 feet tall. I was, like, very just skinny and lanky as a teenager, and I would just unravel like a piece of string at the bottom and then just do a full body flop, face plant into the water, so I was bright red, just slapped over and over again. Um, then did the water slide where I got 100-mile-an-hour enema, and then went to the cliff diving and I felt like I needed to save face because everyone else was, I don't know, not injured or complaining. So I was like, I really got to get it together. What is the matter with me? So I was the first one. I ran and jumped and like held my knees and did a cannonball because I just A, wanted to get it over with, and B, wanted to not show any fear and just be the first one. And it was so high. I don't know how high it was, but it felt like I was falling forever. Then I hit the water. I don't When I hit the water or whatever I hit, the water and something else, it felt like I had gotten slammed in the mouth with a hammer. Felt like someone just wham hit me in the mouth with a hammer. And then I just sank down, 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 down. And I was like kind of disoriented from hitting my face on whatever. And had to reorient myself, and swim up toward follow the bubbles and swim toward the light because I couldn't figure out. I had gone so deep and, I ripped the skin that holds your top lip to your face. So I was all bloody, when you're wet and then blood looks so much worse. So I was all bloody down my face and chin and neck. That was my cliff diving experience, and th what I don't know that I was aware of, I think because I just was so I didn't wanna even look because I had had so many bad experiences, and I was embarrassed, and I just, like, wanted to save face that I didn't even look down at where I was jumping, but I found out later that there were just swimmers swimming that didn't know that right above them was cliff diving. They didn't keep it clear. They didn't time it to make sure, oh, like at the pool diving board, there's a lifeguard sitting there making sure that people go one at a time. And a kid has to swim and be at the ladder before another kid can dive. This was anarchy. And on top of the fact that there were the people in the water that had already had just jumped off the cliff, there were people in the water swimming, not knowing that there were people above them that were going to land on them. So when Tyrone Shoelaces says that he saw a guy die at the cliff jump, I don't doubt it. I I'm shocked it didn't happen daily. I'm happy to have the memories. Glad my kids aren't, asking me to take them there because I wouldn't. If you know anyone or you went to jungle habitat, please leave a message or send an email or, I don't know, leave a comment on the Strangers with Kittens, Instagram or TikTok. It would be so much fun to read about it. Okay, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks for listening.
If you like the show, please rate, review, and share on social media. Strangers with Kittens is produced by Ashley Aker and recorded in front of a live audience of dogs.